What, huh? Comics. So we got today is some more dollar bargains for you. This is What, huh? Which follows up on the footsteps of the series What the, which was a Marvel parody comic and also not brand X from this before. And it was just a one shot, but this has some funny things in it. What if the Marvel heroes were aged in real time? A lot of this one is more of a what if ish comic book, but a parody what if comic book. So, for example, this one was really clever. What if Stan Lee was the writer of Ultimate Spider-Man, and then it goes on for 3 pages. It's just a reprint of Amazing Fantasy 15 until Michael Bendis is like called up upon it by Marvel editorial and says, "Hey, what are you doing? That you're not getting paid for this joke." You know what I mean? You got some other parodies in here. What do you got? What if the identity crisis happened in the Marvel universe? You have what if Ghost Rider was more eco-friendly? And kind of some funny parodies here. What if Punisher had a bleeding heart? You know what I mean? And so it's a pretty funny book. I liked it. It's not as great as the What the issues, but it is a fun collection. I wish they'd called it What the and did the legacy numbering, but oh well. It's an issue of What, huh? This one is from the early 2005. Okay, what else do we got in our dollar bin today? Superman, Man of Steel with a lot of robots. If you've seen the Superman 2025 robots, the 2025 movie by James Gunn, you know he had robots in the Force of Solitude. That was more of a Silver Age thing, but back in the 90s they did bring the Superman robots back. This is a cool issue by Dan Jurgens of Adventures of Superman with Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, and Jordan. Kind of one of his first post-crisis Superman team-ups with Green Lantern. This is a random issue of Marvel Universe, which was an anthology series that Marvel did when Roger Stern was doing it. This one was the Monster Hunters, so it had kind of like a cool collection of different monsters that they had from the 50s. I thought this looks a lot of fun. Sliders was a TV show that was on, and I think in the 90s. And in the 90s, and it was about guys who go to alternate dimensions and timelines and all that. I can still see Sliders being revamped and created again, whether they do a complete reboot or a continuation. That'd be cool. Invincible Iron Man number 652, starring Ironheart. So there's that comic book of Ironheart. And we have another Superman Triangle era. That was a lot of fun. And then finally, I got Atlantis Attacks. And I'll just sort of go on this. This is John Byrne doing it, the work, stories. Mark Grunwald, Mike Manley, Fabian Nicieza, and Mark Bagley are some of the creators in this book. So I'll just end with this and say that Atlantis Attacks, for those who aren't familiar, was a storyline that went through all the Marvel annuals at that time. And of course, as it says, Atlantis Attacks, and you know you have the basically all of Atlantis taking on, and they were trying to resurrect the set, this dragon thing. And I thought this was a really fun storyline. I remember having a bunch of issues with this. It followed the previous year they had done the Evolutionary War. It's too bad because Elf, the comic book Elf, like Elf, based on the TV series Elf about the Machian, even though it was a tie, it did sort of a funny tie-in with the Evolutionary War. They never got a chance to do an Atlantis Attacks one. That'd been funny. But you had but one of the things I want to, I'm going to finish up on with this annual, is that first of all, it's a fun storyline. And I've never got a chance to read the entire storyline from beginning to end. I've always kind of got only bits and pieces over the years. But I love the fact that the annuals in the 90s and late 80s were 64 pages. They were just square bound. That was kind of cool. It only cost $2.75 at the time for them. And for the primary story was like a 30-page, like a 20-page, 30-page story of your main hero. But then you got backup features like this. So you got, generally speaking, you had, like in this case, you have a silly backup feature, which is She-Hulk and the Wasp comparing which men are the hottest, basically. And I'm not kidding. That's what they're doing. They're just showing, like, who are the hottest Avengers. They're just comparing, well, Captain America, he's an 8 on the meter. No, he's a 10. And it's just a funny little quick thing. Other stories, like annuals, like Spider-Man did like a top 30 countdown of the villains, but had Fred Beck draw it, who would, like, in a little very cartoony style. Then in this one, you have a backup feature of U.S. Agent, and you have a backup feature of Firebird. And with Spider-Man, now with Avengers, obviously, like, you're doing Avengers West Coast characters. But with Spider-Man, back in the 80s and 90s, there was no Spider-Verse, right? So what you do is you do supporting cast members of Spider-Man's comics, or characters that have been introduced before in Spider-Man, but don't have their ongoing titles. Characters like Prowler, characters like Cloak and Dagger. These kind of backup features were awesome in annuals. I'd love to see them that back again. So I'm going to call this Summer Savings. Comics for $1. So that's what we got. And yeah, that was some of the Supermans I got from another time. All right, take care and stay sweaty.